So, over the past year and a bit, I found myself falling extracurricularly in love with CRPGs. Mainly watching my girlfriend play them, to be fair, but prior to us dating, it wasn't really a realm I was familiar with much at all. Like, I love RPGs, but I grew up as more of a J girly. So, seeing the Elder Scrolls series for the first time, or games like Gothic, had been pretty eye-opening, both in terms of similarities and differences to those of the J, and all of the cool shared historical thingies. And one that, in particular, really took me aback in all of these regards was the original Diablo.
The sanctity of this place has been fouled.
Because here I was, looking at this dark, oppressive, sound effects flexing, stuff strutting horror game. The way the monsters emerged from the grainy, thick shadows, scurrying about at insect-like speeds, it was quite different than what I was used to from other RPGs. For instance, I'd seen Fog of War before in shit like Age of Empires, but I hadn't seen it used deliberately to make for a mood like this. Using it as if shading and shadows and not just a game mechanic. And also, console horror games of the time, as well as its fellow RPGs, were often slow as hell, staunchly menu-driven, plodding, dialogue-heavy, and not this fast, dexterous experience that doesn't even pause when the player checks their inventory. In that, it can be pretty difficult to, certainly for someone like me who wasn't used to this structure, nor am I particularly accustomed to mouse controls yet, so it's not a given I actually click where I'm hoping to. However, that really only made it creepier. As every staircase down deeper into the abyss was as if a death potentially lying in wait.
I have no room.
Yeah, weapons and armor can also break. The inventory is residentially small and evilly overstacked, and most of what you find your character won't even know what to do with without someone or something helping one identify it. And thus, back we run, panic fueling every step, wading through a sea of corpses and gore in this dense, decrepit maze only to make it back to the depressing, dreary refuge that is the town up top. Amber lighting pouring out from the houses. The shop only selling tattered rags as armor. The corpse in the middle of town left unattended, and the deep red glow emanating from the church which leads down into the titular dungeon. Keep talking shit, Diablo, or I'll shove Mephisto up your ass. Why don't you Diablo on this dick? My heraldric staff! I was so surprised by all of it. Like, given who was making it, I figured Diablo would be more like Warcraft. Baby! You know, kind of tropey, knights, castles, and orcs with a goofier, cartoonier tone and energy. That doesn't help either. I suppose that I was introduced to the series by way of 3 back when that was current in my teens, and I don't like being super negative in my vids if I can help it, but it looked like League of Legends, and I've always hated how League of Legends looked. So naturally, I'd assumed Diablo wouldn't be for me. Which I guess isn't entirely untrue, because I do very much suck at this. I can't kite for shit. I gotta beat boss bitches by cheesing them.
The spirits of the dead are now avenged.
I did beat Diablo 2, I suppose, but I did so with my girlfriend who is actually good at video games. Me, I am baby. So much so that even just installing Diablo 2 was scary. Oh, for real. Windows even thought it was a virus. The process is also jank as balls because the game is old, having to give it admin access right after the goddamn virus warning, which is just great. And then once the bar refill, it pulls a fucking jump scare on you. Which, yeah, that scared the fucking hell out of me. I have my speakers cranked and I don't really expect software to just randomly make unwanted noises like that anymore. I had to go through all manner of backdoor-ass, Reddit-ass links to even get this son of a bitch installer, and after all that was said and did, I got a spookyweeddemon.exe on my desktop, and gosh darn it, I must say it, even if it might make some older folks laugh at me in the comments. EXEs are scary. I mean, those things can fuck up your PC. That's where Sonic comes from. And Jeff the Killer. And even if it's something legit like Diablo 2, you still kind of just have to trust whatever link page or storefront you got it from. I also didn't start playing PC games until Steam, so getting games through it is what feels safe and legit to me. So rogue EXE files have had more sketchy connotations over my lifetime. Hence why, in general, old PC gaming has always appeared rather curio-coded and cursed to me in general. The obscure darkness of DOS, the imposing big boxes, the Wild Westy history far from console publishing restrictions, regulations, and Nintendo's authoritarian gaze. The feeling that anyone could have made this. Some sicko could have made this game. And don't even get me started on fucking shareware. You had to call a goddamn phone number for that shit. That's what you had to do to get Doom. And that's fucking terrifying. Nothing good can come from phone calls. No one under the age of 40 has anything positive to associate with them. It's always scary shit, annoying shit, work shit, or shit too real to text or DM. Heck world. I also remember being in a game store as a wee kid and feeling a slight unease at the PC game section. Thing is, this was during the first half of the 2000s. Physical PC media already started to become a little afterthoughty, especially in regards to buying things legit, and it also sat at the far back of the store away from the windowed front, which gave it this dark, mysterious energy. Whenever curiosity would get bettered though, I'd walk on over and see a lot of those explosive so good, best type game cases, but they did still stock some ye olde big boxes as well. And there it sat, as if a terrifyingly dark monolith atop its display case. Dungeon Keeper, with the iconic bright red Satan head, and on some versions the tagline "Evil is good" scribbled in edge font. Peer beyond the facade and one finds a fun, harmless little scrimblow game where the player mines rocks and commands penis imps, but god damn, what imagery to make an impression with still. It was the style at the time, after all, what with the satanic panic in full force, industrial and metal music being huge amongst the more adult-skewing nerds, and comics like Spawn floating around in pop culture too. Oh, I love Spawn, by the way. I read through the whole first compendium while making this video. I'm also gonna get Haunt, aka Cum Man, soon, and Spawn and Vincent Valentine should date. Media, as such, made Big Satan, as well as bloody violence and gore, weirdly widely accepted forms of cool during the 90s. Often gothily portrayed in that The Crow sort of way as well, or in that grunge texture-heavy Nine Inch Nails Marilyn Manson manner, which also became really huge for something so extreme-looking. Stuff to upset your conservative parents with, as it were, infesting 90s pop culture in many different ways. From boomer shooters like Blood and hack and slashers like Nightmare Creatures to whatever genre Postal 1 would be, being all like... The earth is hungry. Its heart throbs and demands cleansing. The earth is also thirsty. And even something like the OG Age of Empires has some rather oppressive FMV and mood about it. Although, in saying that, the FMV might just feel that way retrospectively, being how tons of 90s CG has aged rather uncannily. On top of that, there's also other technicals of the time, like how so many games just had this purely black, dark abyss always lying in wait as the skybox or fog, and while that and the general 90s edge congealed in games across the board being more hellish than they were in decades prior and post, on PC, with its player-based side higher barrier to entry and its game dev side larger accessibility to publish, made for a more older skewing demographic and more, well, just get a load of this. So yeah, why not dig a bit deeper down into the pit of fire with me as we explore some hellish 90s PC games. Now, nowadays, the modern PC landscape is quite different. There's defo still releases that are part of PC gaming's big long lineage and evolution, for sure, don't get me wrong, like Valve's Deadlock, for example. Being a combo of MOBAs, which came from Warcraft mods, TF2/Overwatch, aka an old Quake mod, and a game by Blizzard, Legends of PC Gaming, responsible for the prior mentioned Diablo and Warcraft of MOBA's fame, and the classic deathmatch shooters as id of Quake birthed it, and also it's by Valve, and Valve is Valve. However, by and large, I do sort of feel like the PC, by way of the Steam store, became sort of the dumping ground. Non-derogatory. I mean, it's easy to self-publish too, and full of indies inspired by console games, random ports, and Daisy the Swimmer. God, wow. What a game. Then again, Keen was also a self-published indie striving to be like console scrimblos, as was Jackson Jackrabbit, so maybe things haven't really changed all that much after all. I suppose, like how now any old sicko can release their garbage onto itch.io. In the 90s, you had motherfuckers with a dream, making bangers like... Better Dead Ratification. A game in Japanese, which I can't read, that turns the Windows 98 pop-up into demon sigil. Going raw into the title screen with no install as well. Curiously, opening cold in medias res with our protagonist smoking and drinking at bar, and let me tell y'all, I love this frame, this aura, being that it's so, shall we say, old-timey jank. You see, everything here is CG pre-render, but then the smoke pubes are honestly giving flash animation. I also dig these bottles. No labels, no details, they are mere shiny, transparent, low-poly models with a single color. I fucked with the look so hard that after one small peek from a video of this video game years ago when doing the Mac vid, I stole these shits wholesale for a bar in my own game. Bottles as if we gemstones. Just fucking adorable. Check in the TV off to the side in any case, that's a rogue transmission from the crustiest FMV man in the world speaking in glitches. I've seen video of Better Dead before, as I've said, and it's always kind of like this, but I'm still willing to call emulation jank on it, being that those videos were probably emulating it too. That said, I wasn't entirely sure what was happening because of it, and because it went on for so long. So long, I said, as I ended up backing out to mess with the settings, and while doing so, the game straight up yeeted me. Or as far as I knew at this time, this could have been some sort of meta-horror, I'm scared type shit, or perhaps it was merely the game falling apart at the seams. With questions heavy, I went back in, this time to explore the bar some more. And I am in love with these chunky green marble tables, these gradient generator ass wallpapers, and this shiny glossy wood on the chairs and floors. Shout out the big magenta lights too. What a beautiful fucking scene. All the same, I was for real a bit on edge, for real. Spooked, even. What with the vibe being rather a sicko could have made this game like I was expecting anything to happen at any time. So then, when I approached the door and saw spooky eyes blinking at me from the wee hole, it legitimately unnerved me. Dane moment, though, doesn't want to leave. So back to the FMV man I go, who doesn't yeet me this time around and instead hits me with a small quiz of sorts. Surviving this, I do try the door again and... Now, I can't read shit, but it sure as shit seems to me that we are having a casual conversation with the devil. And not gonna lie, I fucking love this guy. If the bottles wasn't enough, I halfway ripped his ass off for my clothing line. The very same devil you saw as the PC boot up sequence at the beginning, you can buy on a long sleeve shirt. Wow. Oh, as proud as I am of what I made, what an amazing design this fella is all the same. The way in which the compression makes him look almost sparkly, the boils on his face, the tiny little evil teeth and his big dumb grin, that beautiful choker, and his voluptuous curves. What A legendary design. We upset him, we die. Lieutenant Randolph Payne. Retrying and shit though, so we can see all the various outcomes, like when he becomes Head Thunderdeath, and with the wood varnish terminal doohickey at our side, we can survive his whatever he does to make it to the space station. It was at this point that I knew I had to research what the fuck I was actually playing, because all I knew was what I saw in a YouTube video from years ago during the Mac Games era, which was limited to Satan and Bar. So now being on a fucking spaceship with the cuckbot who won't shut the fuck up, all these mysterious research terminals and Pickle Boy over here boasting the crustiest lips in the universe, like get this bitch some balm, is sending me for real. Thing is, there's a Kojima level of dumping going around here too. All the anti-Satan tech, the Satan history, and the Robo Wars research, and the 2023-2, and the Psychomation, all explained, voiced, and texted in immense detail for hours on end. I might not be able to understand none of it, but I'm still super engrossed all the same, as there's just so many sounds, animations, sequences, set pieces, and places, and you even become a goddamn robot at some point, changing the whole interface in tow. I'm betting that this would be so fucking cool had I known Japanese for real, because I love the Kojima adventure games like Snatcher or Police Knots, and this is legit giving a similar energy of just a smidge jankier and more indie, and in that, so damn impressive too. This may very well be a one-man guy type effort, so the fact that it is as elaborate as it is, I just really fucking respect it. The ambition, the achievement, and above all, the fact that this game has lived rent-free in my soul since the stumbling of 2020 with the Satan, the bar, and the bottles I took from them all, and so I owe this game. It deserves my full attention, more than me getting stuck in foreign on a spaceship. I'll do it for y'all, for me, for the content, for Satan. And so, off to Google I go. What do you mean there's an even little or known Macintosh version that is fully in English text and voice? God damn it. So, here I am, navigating an ancient Mac PC for the first time. Unstuffing my toast, as they apparently call it. Oh god. All the icons are willy-nilly. Snood. Ooh, what's this? Troubled Souls. Ooh. Whoa, this music. Oh, holy shit, wow. What the fuck is this? Okay. So it's laying pipe. Hell yeah. Look at me go. I'm laying pipe. Laying pipe in Troubled Souls. Right. Better dead. Back to unzipping. It's gonna take a while, isn't it? 90s computing, I guess. Well, while we wait for this to fill up, might I interest y'all in a satanic horror fighting game? Yeah, it's true. The Unholy was made by Mutation Software and released in 1999 for Windows 98. And you know what? It is so nice to see the work that inspired Dragon Ball Z Taiketsu, a real piece of gaming history. History so far back that the .txt ass readme file on the disk from the official copy has a direct warning from the devs about potential viruses, like ooh, this readme is where we can read the story too, which is about a wizard named the Unholy who took over the world of Kalrula and killed our main protagonist, Maxwell Lightfoot's parents. Now, when I say main protagonist, I don't mean like a Ryu who you can pick. No. He is who you play as. The controls also make this clear, listing only him in particular. I recommend using a joystick as well, which I don't think I have. This is Windows 98, so what controller would that even be? Did USB even exist back then? Who knows? Luckily, the keyboard is also fine, with Q, A, and Z being the kick, punch, and block buttons. Not quite how I would have done that, but hey, Mutation were Amiga devs. They come from a world of Euro platformers with little standardization of controls, so we can ball. Especially because, unholy shit, look at this title screen. Now that is hellish 90s PC games right there. Vibes in general are hella on point if you ask me. The loading screens alone are all fucking incredible, showing off each of the characters like the burnt edges on a lasagna man, or lens flare bot, whatever this is, or... Wait, what is this? Chat, can we get a read on this guy? Buckman, Gex, some variety of feline, pizza, spore creation. Also in the naked golden man's level, there's this texture in the background behind the big gong and the statues that have old video still crust, and I'm pretty sure I have this exact texture from an archived CD-ROM of old Goop assets. God, the feel is so stiff, jittery, and jerky. I don't even know if I need to explain why, because it just kind of feels like how it looks, you know? And there's no moves per se either. Punch and kick is always just punch and kick. I suppose you can duck and do them or jump and do them, but as far as I can tell, that is it. Quarter circling does nothing, no Hadoukens despite, and... sounding an awful lot like stolen Street Fighter sounds, nor is there any hit stun. No more than a fraction of a nanosecond or so in any case, which I think is in part due to the lack of animation frames in general. A punch will have like 2 frames, making it almost instant, and this goes for the frames upon damage too, so the Unholy really truly becomes a spam war. Who can mash Q and A the hardest, preferably while ducking? Otherwise I couldn't really get anywhere. There's a equally odd magic system as well, with levels unlocking spells the player can cast with the space bar, but that is just pressing the space bar. It's not exactly a deep game is what I'm getting at here, and that's fine, because, I mean, look at it. I love this. It's adorable. It's not exactly meant to be a competitive fighter either, neither. If it were, it wouldn't lock a whole ass ability behind passing the 3rd stage. As, yeah, with levels, I didn't mean to imply that it had RPG system encouraging replays or anything, or something like the Q whatever stuff Tekken stole from Virtua Fighter. No, beating the 3rd fight in the linear-ass single-player mode is what unlocks magic. In multiplayer, you can do the magic right away, but it's still limited to 1 cast per fight, and also you both play as the main character. There is no character select, so again, it's not really a fighter's fighter, but that's okay. I loves me some Destrega or Tenkaichi or... Holy shit, the progress bar! Yay! Woo! We did it! Seriously, that shit took 1 hour and 16 minutes in total. That's insane. The longest zip. So, where's the game? Recent applications? No, that's recently used, not installed. Help me! Wait. No, please don't be this stupid. No, fuck off. No, it is this stupid. It was in the same folder, just in its own fucking little cuck corner. Anyway, after it not running at first and learning that a toast file is more so like an ISO than an EXE, thus changing the entire way I'm approaching this, making the entire zip bar pointless, we were back in business with the evilest icon I think I've ever fucking seen. And it looks very much the same as it did on Windows. It's not a compromised port at all, if this even is a port, and we can English now. Thus letting us hear what the title screen proudly calls the Better Dead Ballad.
He showed me the future, so cold and cruel.
This really is a game made by just one guy with a dream, isn't it? I figured Richard M. Coombs, aka Dick Coombs, was a pseudonym for a Japanese dev trying to sound like a cool American author or whatever, but...
Go fly with the seagulls and soar high when it rains.
Nah, this does sound like a Richard. This is Richard Core, for sure. I'm guessing then that this is also Richard telling us about...
Or whatever it is you do while drinking yourself into a nightmare stupor.
Richard, you're fucking 360 mic, buddy.
This is not a hallucination. Believe me, Commander,
Can't understand you for shit. Like, genuinely, I have trouble hearing him, but the basic gist I could gist is that there's an evil force threatening all known life, aka the Satan, and that all races of the universe, aka the aliens, must band together to stop him, and they need our help to do this. Richard transports the dimension vortex doohickey into the bar so that the Satan outside can't hijack the space-time portal that just so happens to be there.
So, it's a human, and it wants to play.
Oh, every voice is gonna be Richard, isn't it? Back on the spaceship, I've been able to deduce that Satan is this universe's god of destruction, death, and corruption, and he has also been game-ending entire planets and species left and right in the future. The robots and aliens who are on the side of good are now few and far between, and a lot of them are being hacked to turn evil too. However, they have one ray of hope. You, us, me, we, the player, aka Randolph Payne from 1990s Earth, who is to be teleported to the otherwise humanless future to become half robot so that he may resurrect the Hollow Bible from 5 different Bible nodes found on various planets, all in order to resurrect the Hollow Bible controller and gain access to a cosmic doctrine known as the Better Dead Ratification, which would let him put a stop to the evil Me Not Us Fool, aka the Space Satan, and his satanic cult. Yeah.
Benoit, so good, best.
Oh my god, he is bald! God damn. Am I glad I can read those lore dumps now, because are these dense with terms and epic ideas. Like a heckin' biblical space opera or something, but also because understanding the NPCs verbally isn't always that easy. I mean, the voices are all compressed and processed as shit, which I imagine is due to Richard not having the best microphone. Hell, what options in the 90s would he have even had for home recording? Not like he just could have busted out a Blue Yeti. And granted, I love it. Gives a real indie vibe, a real auteur vibe even. It really and truly is a game by Richard M. Coombs, but I defo would have felt a smidge lost without the huge hulking databases. Where I didn't feel lost though is with the gameplay, being that it plays much like other CG-based first-person adventures of the time. Think of Myst, Gadget, Cock, or Eastern Mind. Click on the sides of the screen to turn and at what's in front to move to or to interact with. When Randolph Payne goes robo mode, it does become a bit more involved, but in that also easier to read, what with it clearly stating what's clickable and how. And it introduces things like shooting in a rather mech-like fashion, where one has to handpick the options and guns from the menu and then aim within the tiny Wii game window. Turning things into a proper slow burn horror game here to boot. Moving about the mazy spaceship with a thick oppressive mood following in tow as Sergeant Payne tries to locate the hacks and bugs on the ship. Dying don't bear much consequences though, luckily, but the ammo used does stay used, though there is little stations at every corner letting one restock. I really like this either way though, this hybrid of proper adventure game and tense spaceship exploration action. It reminds me a fair amount of Enemy Zero for the Sega Saturn, which is a variety of game I'm usually fond of in general. But in my opinion, these types of pre-rendered first-person adventures also kind of just make for the perfect cozy old PC game for me. I mean, the crunchiness of the sound effects, the small CG frames, the slow stop and start nature of it all, wherein I can really feel things load in and out, and the methodical, deliberate exploring and engaging with objects, areas, and items all spell to me signs of how the tech of the time, i.e. the CDs and the CGs, more often than not resulting in devs wanting to show off all the cool new things they could do. Hence why half of the game is a relaxing yet gripping low bitrate podcast about nerdy space demon stuff set to a collage of cool renders. And then this gameplay style also feels to me as though I'm interacting with the computer more directly than even when I'm just using the computer. I don't think it's any coincidence so many releases like this use that you're in a robot or a operator of a device framing like how this does too. It's just good synergy with the hardware it was made for in a inherently super satisfying manner. Real yellowed keyboard and the little ball inside the mouse type gaming. Real hunched over at the desk in the attic or basement sitting way too close to the big bulbous monitor adventures. Games really don't just say click anywhere to skip cyberpunk music, else movie will continue automatically following song boomer periods anymore. Never in a million years would I have thought that the demon in a bar thing I saw a 10-minute video of ages ago would lead me to that it would lead me to space. Lead me to, there's not much I'm afraid of anymore, Kermit. Don't call me Tin Man. The name's Pain. Commander Pain. TLDR, I fucking love Better That Ratification. It's funny, creative, really wild and bizarre, and legit a little spooky at times despite the goofballery. Like, this devil design is for real iconic, and in this here church, totally pulling off menacing. I was inspired as much as I was to make this for a reason. Buy it now to look as cool as I do here. Though, yeah. Thank you, Richard M. Coombs, for your amazing and inspirational game. I shall treasure it for many, many years. So this is all I knew the following game as. And sure, Ratification was in Japanese at first too, but at least there I had an English language name I could go on, but this, well, I have these images, these amazing fucking images that I don't even know what the fuck is going on, and that makes me want to turn this name into a game I can play. The search started where many a search do, Googling the name. Doing so brought up physical copies for both Windows and Mac PCs. I'll be real and say that I have no interest in getting these because I just don't think I'd have any meaningful way to use them. Personally, I'd much rather a My Abandonware or Mac repository link, but those did not show. The always trustworthy Google Translate, however, turned what I had into Yokai Human Bem Labyrinth of New Souls. And searching that brought me to Humanoid Monster Bem, the anime the game is apparently based off of. Sadly, searching Yokai Human Bem or Humanoid Monster Bem game coughed up nothing, implying that I might have found a licensed game for an anime no one knows had a licensed game made for it, or alternatively, and likely more so the case, given how obscure this piece of shit is across the board, it's that how Japanese titles like this are phoneticized/romanized into alphabet characters. It is often just kinda up to whoever the fuck. There is some standardization, of course, but not when it comes to made-up words like BEM, so that makes releases like this hard to search, especially if they were already mega obscure to begin with. Luckily, Yokai Ningen Bemu is how the BEM anime is referred to on Weeb databases, which essentially made that the agreed-upon way to roll the title in alphabet among its fanbase, and so Yokai Ningen Bemu Aratanaru Tamashi no Meikyu somehow did get it to show up on the Mac repository, meaning that we are in business. Windows version be damned. Okay, maybe a Japanese version of macOS then? Playing menu and story-heavy RPGs in languages you don't understand is typically a bit of a situation in general, but Jesus Christ, the stank on this one. All the text is cycling colors, there's flashing orbs, there's fast-moving particles running at like 5 billion frames per second somehow, there's flashing frames, there's being dropped straight into battle and having to hold down mouse-click to menus, fire demons, skeletons, 2D people, CG people, anime clips, missed CGI, Kingsfield treasure chests, tropical islands, like, oh my god, holy shit, chill the fuck down, but also, please, keep it going. I had hoped that playing it would give context to the images I had, but no, there isn't much more context than what they already provide. They are very indicative of the experience, which, if I could explain it, I'd probably say that the photo bash part of the screen is where one point and clicks. It's all abstract at best, but there is doors and characters and items and enemies to be found here. It's not unlike the Ex Mortis, but if it was made by someone who has never seen a place before, you know what I mean? Just any place. In any case, I think it might run too fast because I'm on a version of Mac above what it was released for, but it's the only version I have access to with kanji talk, aka Japanese Mac OS, and also BEM is full-on impenetrable to me. I can almost sort of do the combat. I can kill regular enemies pretty easily at the very least, but no matter what I do, I cannot get past the first boss. And besides all that, the world also seems randomized, so it's also a roguelike somehow, which is not necessarily my game type either. It's just a lot, really. Very cool though. Very unique, certainly. But supremely overstimulating. One Pika can only handle so much BEM. As baffled as I am, though, that I could run and play BEM, I really was not expecting a fucking RPG Maker 95 game to be an easy time either, given the runtime packages those typically need and stuff like font and language support, but there it went, installing and playing no biggie. Language does seem to be an issue, but not in the I don't know Japanese way, but in the Windows 98 doesn't know Japanese way. Far as I can tell, unlike modern OSs, the 90s ones just installed with the language you install them in. So we are going to have to deal with garbled text, though it's not like I could parse it either way. Shout out RPG Maker being so stable regardless, though. My Game Jam game was made in RPG Maker 2003 in about a month and a half's time, and that still runs on modern systems flawlessly too. And also, shout out Scar of the Doll, the RPG Maker 95 game in question. If you've been with me for a while or have gone through my big back catalog, you may have seen a crusty ancient video I did on it before. That is, of course, the remake re-release from 2017, which released in English and had some mildly updated graphics, but still stuck to the original art and vision pretty closely, mostly kinda. There's also the Remake's Remake, which has generic anime art I'm not a huge fan of and is the version one can purchase on Switch and phones, but there's also an older phones version that looks a lot like the original remake but with different art as well, and a Macintosh version from 2002 that I can't for the life of me find, just as much as the RPG Maker original was impossible to track down due to all these newer versions clogging up the search hella. Me? I was given it like this. Fucking .exe file in a Discord server. Well, my Discord server, but still, that shit is scary, because EXEs are scary. Anyway, I wanted to smoke the original as it looked honestly far more stylized than any of the re-releases, and one of those re-releases is also a cool horror adventure game I remember very fondly. This made by Child Dream, a studio co-founded by Hidehisa Miyashita, the writer for this and also the PS3 classic Folklore. Child Dream, as I understand it, was essentially their on-the-side indie thing in between working at bigger studios. So as a result, Scar of the Doll has that small team swag, but also that they knew what they were doing, pacing, writing, art, and music. Setting up of the tale of Asumi, a young girl with an older sister whom she's lost all contact with, thus traveling to the lab she knows she works at to try and find answers, stumbling into a dark, murderous underbelly the further she interviews the other lab workers, day by day. So it is ostensibly a game of detectivo questioning folks and sleuthing around, with a lot of sudden game overs getting caught where one ought not to be, which, yeah, it makes this particular version a bit hard to play considering the garbled text, but I wasn't not gonna smoke it, given how cool this hits either way, right away. What with the MS Paint Blood, the crustiest filtered picture of a phone in the world, our main girl's greatly drawn portrait, and the smoothest, jazziest MIDI ditty I ever goddamn heard. Also, look at this shit. They gave it like mouse controls. That's really cool. And there's old RPG Maker environments, and those are very much worth noting because none of the remakes have anything like them at all. There's no explorable space, it's all just text, photos, and menu prompts. So this is really cool to have, us actually getting to look around her wee apartment and examining shit to learn more about her. All the key observables were there in the remake too, but this, to me, is a rizzier way of doing it. As much as I love the 2017 version, I can very much tell that it's iPhone made. It looked cheap, in a way that the RPG 95 release never really does, funky and old though it be. For instance, just this manner in which the text boxes and PFPs are displayed feels more deliberately composed and stylized. The transitions, the specific use of filters, the dinky MIDI jazz, and the real-time environments also make it more cohesive to me than the remakes, as, well, the game was designed and written with all of these in mind. Originally made in this form. Like, for all we know, the school in the photos is just the school the devs were still actively going to when they made it. And it being explorable outside of menus this time around is also really cool. Not to mention the little town. Like, the whole world of Scar of the Doll is represented and de-abstracted away from the world of only having picture transitions and fuck all else. And again, the mood here is Peem. The sunset, the tunes, the way the trees get cut off, and the fact that we can free roam on our commute home and venture into shops is such a fun detail as well. All that said, while a horror game, it's not at all particularly hellish, yet I deemed it worth including regardless, because, I mean, it's not like anyone else is gonna talk about this shit, right? Might as well let y'all know. To make up for the lack of heck though, I think it's about high time for a little bit of...
It's VIRTUOSO, motherfucker!
A game that dares to ask, what if some guy from a metal band transported himself into cyberspace so he could shoot demons and monsters for fun? He doesn't need ammo, nor a run button, or to even really think much at all. Guy just wants to solemnly pace forthward, too cool to care, blasting shit as it explodes to some edgy grunge penis rock. And to be honest, I get it.
Hello, it's me, Lonely Buddy.
Believe it or not, this game is fucking stupid. Meat-headed ass. In a manner perfectly attuned to the Pika. Thing is, while not entirely unlike its contemporaries, what with it doing the whole explore levels to find keys to open level exits thing what Doom did, it is so much, well, slower and dumber. Grunge Doom, if you will. Like, Doom might be from the 90s, but it defo has more 80s edge in its DNA. Thrash metal and the like. Fast, loud, full of rage. Doom is basically like Slayer. But VIRTUOSO is sludgy, slow, and upset about stuff in a sardonically smoking, well-bored way. It's more like Soundgarden or Alice in Chains or something. And so, we also move casual. Levels are smaller or even linear depending. Getting lost is not a thing I ever did in VIRTUOSO, and it even has third-person tank controls weirdly similar to Resi 4's, simply sans the manual aiming. And where it has cool walling mechanics and strafing that ties into them, it's not as if there's that much functionality to it outside of dodging bullets in tighter hallways, as really what these actually serve to do is to sell a image, a screenshot, a mood, a very 1994 brand of cool. And as a certified style is the substance bitch, that is perfectly fine by me. Sadly, it do get a bit monotonous at times, seeing as there's basically only one single tone and one single action for the entire game. And if you die in real life. AKA get put back at the start of the level, with full health and pickup still intact, which granted is more forgiving than many a other 90s shooter, but is still also less forgiving than what my baby ass is used to, and not a great match for how repetitive VIRTUOSO can be. With that said, one doesn't have to beat full episodes to move on to the next, and playing as much as you're comfortable with for as long as you feel willing and able to do is also valid and Gucci as far as I'm concerned. As goddamn the stance, the walk, walking on down as we drown in the darkness of these dark walk hallways, joylessly gunning at exploding bats by the dozens to 90s alt-rock with lyrics about TV brainwashing. Again, it's the vibe, the mood. Don't let pesky things like the gameplay bother you. Simply appreciate these Silent Hill 1 Japanese box art gore titles. This is Mars, by the way, the The Gore World is somehow the weird guy tech bro planet. Sorry, that's what it is now. Too bad. And I think depicting it like a pile of rotten meat and guts with a stinky hell lab is neat. From the surface down into the dingy depths, as it slowly industrializes and increases its increasity of increasingly more claustrophobically cramped and confined corridors, ending up in the titular lab, upon which VIRTUOSO suddenly becomes goofball System Shock, boasting shockingly beautifully bright yellows and cool blue hues, giving way to ever grungier, dirtier, machine-like passages as you go on as well, eventually revealing the mines. And all of that was such a cool progression. This real, actual journey with an actual context and an actual sense of place, and that was not always a given shooters of the era. After this, it all becomes significantly more stupid in a way that really surprised me. Or here I was on the beach being dogged by a rabid flock of seagulls and crabs. Or in the snow with giant balls coming at me. And well, the genuine pause you just saw me do there was legit amazement. It's never too goofy though, as we do have motorcycle hedge maze devils and cool level design ideas like whimsically following footsteps in the snow. Similarly, in the Haunted Mansion area, there's unkillable sentient knight armors who only move when out of view. Or in the Marine bunker, there's soldiers who actually seek cover when you shoot at them. These are all tropey video gamey things done since, but at this point, in 94, I don't know. Doom was only a year old by now, and Duke 3D was still 2 years away. Not to mention that this is also a third-person 3D shooter. For all we know, it's the first fucking one. I mean, Tomb Raider is from 96, as was Cobra the Shooting, which VIRTUOSO honestly reminds me a fair amount of, funnily enough. Also, I love that we are in a haunted mansion with the marble and mahogany and the spooky red carpets and drapes hand grenading a bunch of creepy crawly severed hands because, again, Doom and Wolfenstein 3D spaces were rather abstract at the best of times. I love them, I really do. But these are more identifiable settings in a way that folks often credit the build engine releases for really pioneering. And they did, but VIRTUOSO is still out here doing that shit prior, and I'd say that's a pretty big dub if you ask me. Same way doing the horror pastiche thing years before Blood would do too. It's really cool. Do wonder if poppy alt-rock is the right soundtrack for a dark grey dungeon with zombies and mega spiders, but I mean, I don't know, what's scarier than white Gen Xers with dreadlocks, am I right? Either way, great game for Thor. Big thanks to the Collection Chamber for making it easily accessible on modern PCs. It was nice not to have to fiddle with shit for hours before getting one of these games to run for once, so hell yeah. No, do not open the folder of golf games. We can't, under any circumcisions, unleash Zesty Gay Gex onto the world. Or Pink Mario. Or 36 Great Hole. No! Oh no! The golf hole is open! Now I'm going to have to talk about Slice and Hook, a Windows 1998 golf horror game of all things, with rather simple but adventurous gameplay. Mouse about the 3D wireframe stick as the rubber chicken indicates ball smacking intensities. And let me tell you, there's a lot of places you can smack that ball. Like if it drops off of a raised highway, it don't die. It just ends up at the street below. And then when one pokes it into the next door apartment, you can find a hole in the bathroom, having to put the fucker underneath the gap below the door to pocket it. This is where I'd have figured it would be a point 1 and level end or restart, but nah, the little ball drops on down into the sewer instead. Its hollowed hulls functioning as if a golf ball half-pipe for the player to play with. And that, to me, is really fucking cool. Like I said, golf adventure us gameplay. But I said adventure, and yeah, the game just makes you really creatively navigate the space. You know, there's a lot of jokes I could make here, but I shan't not. 'Twould be unbecoming of a lady. Ah! Oh god, that for real shocked me a little upon first view.
What? What are you looking at?
What am I looking at? A goddamn wisecracking smoking skeleton, that's what. And as goobery as that may be, that and the title screen do set the tone of the tone pretty perfectly right away. That being one akin to like a Primus music video. Eerie, wacky, gross, with weird figures or stop motion included. Sometimes it's surreal, like when there's a giant man head poking out of the ground, and other times I'm swinging balls in dusty desert peep show shacks, or rummaging through the junk beneath the highway, or ping-ponging between stormy trailers in a trailer park. I will admit to not always being a fan of the FMV people humor of Slice and Hook, rare though it is, but then when I'm in the rustic, cobwebbed corridors of a ghost-infested cruise ship dragging my ball across carpet so vividly real I can smell them, I can't help but be in complete and total awe. The rust on the deck outside, the fog in the distance, the glowy amber lighting from below, always, no matter where you are, contrasted by the puke gunk green of the golf course itself. Sure, yeah, that shit was about as scary as a Goosebumps episode or a Rob Zombie video or whatever else 90s horror ephemera, but in that, Slice and Hook does so perfectly embody that Halloween spooky taken seriously and grossly vibe that really only truly existed back then. All the while, the music doing a similarly 90s quakey type thing where sound effects, Foley work, and guitar and samples all meld into a stormy, windy, grungy, grainy, atmospheric whole. Whole, the vibe I love, by the way, as there ain't that many games I can think of that have pre-renders that aren't renders, but instead physical, real shits. Plenty of scanned in actor stuff, of course, but I'm talking specifically about things like the Neverhood, Fantasian, Judero, there you go, that's all I got. And Slice and Hook can probably join that list for as far as I'm concerned, especially because these model tables are so well done that they don't even really look like model tables. Like in Fantasian, it's very much a very pronounced gimmick. It insists upon itself. But here, the sewer tunnel looks just like a sewer tunnel. The trailer park looks just like a trailer park. The maggot-infested pulsating anus looks, it's like one of the grossest things I might have genuinely ever seen in a game, but I couldn't tell you how they made that or with what. As I alluded to, too, it's all so much more than just butt fluff, being that there's always more than one way to go, and every level also carries its own distinct gimmick. Like the Heaven and Hell stage, where falling through hole has the player alternate between Heck of Heaven versions of the same course. The trailer park is mostly flat but mazy and has various trailers to enter, and these pressure plates that open up and raise barriers. The junkyard will have its freaky denizens whomst will fuck with thine ball. The anus level has golf mountain climbing, and the ghost ship is kind of like a small Resident Evil level with environmental puzzles and so on and so forth. Slice and Hook is legit just a very fun, creative, and unique game. Ball physics is mostly as you'd expect them to be too. The controls work well, and you can even play with friends, taking turns like real mini-golf, and overall, it's just such a great journey through some really well-crafted spooky places carried by some incredible music and sound design. Great holes, to be sure. Great. Now there's a big hole in my desktop. Whoa! No way! That's Maria, Curse of the Puppet Museum. A release by who the fuck honestly knows. I've seen so many folks say that Jiro Ishii of Shibuya Scramble was involved, but I can't for the life of me confirm that. He did, according to Wikipedia, work on a set of games called Little Lovers by the studio Nikkei Visual Images, which is also the studio credited for Maria, but looking further into it all I can find is somehow Little Lovers became a fucking NFT at some point. The publishers did have a Moby game page though, and what What the fuck happened in 2001 that made them take pause for 17 years? Oh no. Similar to Better Dead, all I really have on this game is a YouTube video I found around the same time that really radiated with cursed object auras, a game so obscure and haunted that you're not supposed to play it. And wouldn't you know, there sure is a hilarious reason as to why in the corner here it says gameplay stolen from FMV Story. Because yeah, I couldn't get it to run. Being that this is such a FMV heavy game, I had to install QuickTime for Windows, and the whole process was super whimsical. I didn't get a lot of this movie reel install bar, or the funny red background, or the QuickTime intro video it insisted I'd watch. Hell yeah. Amazing. Sadly, even with that, the game didn't want to run. And this is a thing so obscure, it's not on my abandonware. It's why I had such a hard time figuring out who even made it. It does have a giant bomb entry, which links to the official website from 1997. But aside from some cool Elden web aesthetics, it's not really getting me much of anywhere. Granted, it is a Windows 95 game, so maybe it's because I'm on Windows 98. Searching a Romanized version of the Japanese names also got me to an Internet Archive link of the Mac version. And considering that I somehow seem to be having a whole lot more luck with Mac versions, I wanted to go with that, but that led to its own whole host of issues I kinda just don't want to bore y'all with. Suffice to say, I spent a good 2 days trying with help from a few computer knowers and Japanese knowers and got nowhere. The game not working is pretty textbook PC gaming, to be honest, so I guess that in of itself is as worthwhile of an experience for a video like this to contain than it would be containing the playing the gaming, but it's not necessarily what I wanted to be ending with, per se. I was expecting this to be the case for like BEM or the RPG Maker game, but here we are. I'm sure for others, where there's a will, there's a way, but the only will I have is Will M, and he's not particularly helpful here.
Hello? Oh!
And that, as they say, is that. And what a journey it was. We bonded over Better Deads, played Busted Fighters, got possibly the most obscure release I've ever covered on my channel to run no problem, explored an ancient RPG Maker game that serves as one of the first of later to be many, many RPG Maker horror games to follow, and we golfed, and grunged penised, and got lost in the sauce of technical woes many a times. Started from Diablo, now we here, at a, Drake reference, I guess, which we can't really make those anymore since the events, but the sentiments do stand. As someone who grew up almost entirely on consoles, ping-ponging between Elden versions of Mac and Windows like this was a lot of fun, digging into minds I've yet to ever really strike veins in much at all before. And I hope y'all enjoyed it too. It was a lot of work though, so I'm thinking my next few vids will be a lot shorter. Algorithmic desires be damned. Anyway, I love y'all. And thanks for watching. Bye.